that's what you get, Jack, when you do the thing where you start assigning all these extra powers to the executive branch. You start getting the cretins out there that are fiending for the large power out there, and then you have Hillary Clinton and Obama fighting over, and it gets pretty rough. The more power that you are expected to get, the rougher the fight is going to be to get that. And everybody knows that the Democrats are going to win, obviously because of...
And this is also a lesson to anybody else, because, again, here's the story. And Obama is actually helping this along because he doesn't have any choice. That Hillary Clinton will be entered into the nomination at the convention, which we kind of knew was happening. He was supposed to help her cover her bets. She had bet on her own campaign to the tune of about $10 million or more, and he was supposed to help her recover those losses. He didn't. He didn't fulfill some of the promises that he had made to her at the Bilderberg conference in Virginia, Chantilly, Virginia, a couple of months ago, where they had this little secret meeting. So at the end of the day, he didn't fulfill his promises. Again, the hubris, the greed, the ego that is involved with all of these people. So she's going to get him back. And I think also he wasn't supposed to put up another woman vice president. She was supposed to be the preeminent woman in the election, okay? And he might be putting Catherine Sebelius up, who is the governor of Kansas, who's also a Bilderberger and a Council on Foreign Relations person, along with James Woolsey, who we just talked about, and that might also mess up the deal. So she has kind of tricked him into getting him into this nomination, and this murder in Arkansas, I think, was a message to all the superdelegates who might be thinking about maybe changing teams.
Yeah,
which Hillary Clinton has done long ago.
Well, you give her some credit. At least she's being persistent. But yeah, it seems like there is so much going on just behind the Democratic curtain. And, how often do we talk about this, Ben? But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen next? But
Monica Lewinsky was a dry hole.
We sure know that. That's for sure, Jack. Oh, my goodness. But, it's just drama after drama. And, instantly when I heard about this, it's something, I guess most of the time because of who I am and my beliefs. And I guess Ben could say the same thing, but it just seemed like something was very fishy about this whole shooting and, how...
Don't say derogatory things about Hillary Clinton, okay?
Obviously not.
As I told you, she changed teams long ago.
Yeah, well, and of course the names you give to these politicians, Jack, just make my day that much better, just so you know that. But, I think for me, as humbled as I am by, the amount of knowledge that you have, other hosts on the network, this whole thing, it's just, for me, it's just hard to try to decipher all of what's going on in this realm. You hear about these things that happen, and then they're breaking news, and then they kind of come and go, and you never hear about them again. And it's so difficult for me to find out exactly what is going on, why. But I'm glad you shed the light on that for me. And Ben, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this whole situation?
I don't know. What other did he just have the 3-name thing, or was it? What other similarities does this guy have to the other patsies out there?
Well, he's a lone nut, and he was killed, so he can't talk. But I thought the interesting evidence, and I know Webster Tarpley has written an article about this. I believe you can go to total411.info, and James Truth is going to be on my show Monday to kind of break this down a little bit. But I thought the interesting thing was that the media tried to paint him as an Obama superdelegate. And he'd never said that. And the fact is he was a Clinton superdelegate. So why are they lying in the media to say he's an Obama superdelegate? It's almost as if... Now, we have to remember, the Arkansas machine, it's a Winthrop-Rockefeller machine. And that's why, they were able to go into Mena, Arkansas, both the Bushes and the Clintons working together to smuggle vast amounts of cocaine through there because it is a safe zone. And Winthrop, not Nelson and not Jay Rockefeller, who's in West Virginia, John D. Rockefeller, who was behind that, I believe, that Ron Paul Air incident that we had a while back, the clip where we talk about that is at deadlinelive.info. But, he was relegated to Arkansas. He must not have been really in favor with the family. But that is Rockefeller-controlled territory through and through. It's a very dangerous place. You can ask Vince Foster about that. So, we're only speculating here. But I thought the odd thing was that the media tried to say that he was again, just to repeat myself, because I have to propel the propaganda. For the media to say that he was an Obama superdelegate had just switched was, I believe, a total fabrication, and so that kind of points to some bigger cover-ups. Also, the fact that there was a church shooting at that same time, and no media outlet reported that as well. It looks like this guy's voice-to-skull programming might have gone off the rails just a tiny bit. Either that or they were trying to set it up to blame it on Al-Qaeda, who we know hits multiple targets all at once. So they might have been covering their bases on the cost-benefit analysis front, but it's very fishy. So I'm interested in digging into it a little more. We're going to actually break this story on Monday when we get all of our ducks in a row.
Good stuff. We're coming up on a break.
In my line of work, you got to keep repeating things over and over and over again for the truth to sink in.
Thank you, George.
Catapult to propaganda.
George W.
Got it.
But that was God again.
No. We may bring God back for another.
George W.
Thank you, George.
I'm dyslexic. Actually, it was dog. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Oh, man. So this is coming out of the Washington Post. We only have a minute, really, until the break, but I want to get your take on the other side of this. The anthrax case, this person that they're sort of coming out, this came out of the Washington Post today. Hair samples in anthrax case don't match. Strands from mailbox in Princeton are not from Ivan's, investigators are saying.
He's sick.
So I definitely want to get your take on this guy when he comes back. From my understanding, I thought that the anthrax had proven to be coming from military grade and come from the CIA, but I'll have to get your take on that when we get back. You are listening to the Animal Farm Show, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking to Jack Blood, host of Deadline Live on the GCN radio network. AnimalFarmShow.com is the website. If you'd like to get in contact with us, 512-646-1984, or you could drop us an AOL instant message. Animal Farm Show, all one word. We'll be right back, folks.
100% satisfaction guaranteed.
We are on the phone with Jack Blood. If you'd like to call very quickly, we have some time for you. 512-646-1984. We were talking about this anthrax case and how the hair samples in the anthrax case didn't match. Strands from mailbox in Princeton are not from Ivan's, investigators say. What does this say? Is this clouding the situation?
Well, I haven't read the story, so does it say that the anthrax wasn't weaponized from Fort Detrick, or it says it doesn't match Bruce Ivins and doesn't put him at the scene of the crime? I'm not sure exactly what you're asking.
I think it's saying that it doesn't put the hair samples that they found weren't his, so it doesn't put him at the scene of the crime. Yeah,
that's an easy one. I mean, what I'm thinking now is they got caught with their pants down. They thought, they're so used to Americans being really stupid that they thought they could just float this out there and get it done. And you remember back when this all happened, they were trying to blame this on Saddam Hussein. We know where Saddam Hussein got his anthrax from, but they didn't give him the good anthrax that was, grown in Ames, Iowa. I mean, I could talk about this for hours. The other day I read a piece that we did called What If This Case Went to the Jury? And we did about a 1 second thing for the prosecution, and then we did about a 10-minute thing for the defense. And the fact of the matter is the DNA that they have doesn't match, as you just mentioned. This has been out now for quite a while. Doesn't match Bruce Ivins, okay? They already tried to pin this on his partner, Stephen Hatfield. It could have been any one of the people in that lab. Nothing goes to Bruce Hatfield. Nothing goes to Dr. Bruce Ivins. The only evidence that they have that they're touting out, I'm sure he was anti-Semitic. I'm sure he was in league with Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. I mean, they're going to say all this stuff, but the only evidence they really have is that he worked at a government lab that made this anthrax. Okay, that does not get past. No one's reporting that they tried to pin this on Saddam Hussein and bin Laden and everybody else. No one's reporting that Bush and the Bush administration was on Cipro before the anecdote, allegedly, for anthrax, before this had all happened. Nobody talks about, when they talk about this story, how Donald Rumsfeld was involved and invested into a company that had also put out an anthrax vaccination or anthrax antidote. So a lot of these issues, these questions aren't being asked. Why was the Ames strain in Ames, Iowa, where they got this, where they grew this weaponized anthrax that went to Fort Detrick that was weaponized, why was that destroyed by the FBI when people started pointing the finger at them after the Saddam Hussein ether had worn off? They're going to throw out some confusion bombs. I mean, they're going to try to make this into JFK, get so many different suspects that you just throw people off the trail. But we've already caught them now in a series of lies. And trying to float out this whole Bruce Ivins, a lone, crazy guy who's now dead, that can't talk, certainly didn't float. And I'm sure they expected it to float. So we actually put this together, this whole defense, if you were a jury listening to the case, and we've got about 10 or 20 different items that the FBI can't answer the questions for.
Very interesting. There you go.
We're reckless, arrogant, stupid dicks.
And there you go. I mean, that's the kind of thing I was talking about.
100 scientists had access to that lab and that anthrax, but we do know one thing. They admitted it. The FBI did their own investigation. They told us this came from Fort Detrick. It came from a government lab. We've been saying that all along, and Professor Francis Boyle, University of Chicago, has done excellent work on this and really put the FBI's back to the wall. And amazingly enough, this whole apprehension of Bruce Ivins, who conveniently committed suicide, comes on the heels of people calling for a new investigation into the anthrax attacks. For the last 2 years, it was really snowballing and really getting a lot of traction, so they had to come up with something. This was all they can come up with, and they failed.